Hey third graders, I'm here with our next daily challenge form, and today we're going to be working on splitting and comparing fractions. This is work we've done previously in the year, but just as a reminder, here are a couple of things I want us to try and accomplish during this video. We are going to practice partitioning or breaking apart shapes into equal parts. Think about how the word partition has part in it, so that can help you to remember it just means breaking. I also want us, after breaking those parts, to be able to compare them to the whole. So thinking about greater than, less than, or equal to in terms of fractions. And finally, I also want us as mathematicians to always be making sense of the problems and then persevering. If the problems get hard, we still want to try to solve them. We're going to actually start with a little bit of GeoBoard fun to be able to partition or break apart. So we're going to use my digital GeoBoard to break the shapes apart into two equal pieces. So let's just pretend or imagine that I am baking brownies, and this is my pan of brownies that comes out of the oven. So looking at my pan of brownies, I notice it's a square, which tells me I can easily find the area by multiplying the length and the width. So I notice that my pan of brownies is 4 by 4, which tells me in total I have made 16 brownies. Now, since I want to be breaking these into two parts, let's think about that some of these brownies are going to stay with me, and then the other amount of brownies are going to stay with Miss Westlake. But I want to make sure Miss Westlake and I are both getting equal amounts of brownies. So if I think about how I want to divide these, I know I have 16 total brownies. How can I make sure that Miss Westlake and I get the same amount? Well, I know that half of 16 is 8, so I need to break apart my brownie pan into 8 and 8. So if I take a look here and I cut it right down the middle, I can break my brownies into 8 for Miss Westlake and 8 for myself, showing that we each get 1/2 of the pan. Now, of course, that's one way I could break it, but what if I wanted to break it going this way? Then would Miss Westlake and I still get the same amount? Well, let's see. I have 8 on this side, and Miss Westlake would have 8 on the other side. So we would still have the same amount. Now, after I've been working with my tangrams and making shapes out of different shapes, I know that a square can also be broken into two triangles. So if I break my pan of brownies this way, will Miss Westlake and I still have the same amount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole pieces. And I know these two pieces will create my 7th, and these two pieces will create my 8th. So Miss Westlake and I are still both getting 8 pieces of my brownie. Okay, so as I'm breaking this apart, I am partitioning, but I'm always making sure that Miss Westlake and I have the same amount. I'm making sure that my shape has two equal parts. Because, friends, if I was going to break my shape this way, and I was going to go diagonal, but not quite half, I would be getting a lot more brownies than Miss Westlake. So that would not be partitioning or breaking apart equally. Okay, let's go back to some of our fraction fast review. Okay, so if I'm looking here, sometimes we do brownies, sometimes we do pizza. So I'm looking at this pan of pizza, and my fraction is 3/4. Remember that a fraction has a numerator, which is a top number, and the denominator, which is a bottom number. The denominator tells me how many pieces I have in the whole. So in this whole pizza, I have split it into 4. Out of those 4 pieces, my numerator tells me maybe how many I'm eating or how many are gone. So out of that total 4, in this case, there are 3 pieces left out of that 4. So that means there are 3/4 left of the whole pizza. That should be something that's already familiar to you, but just as a reminder. Okay, the last part of what we're going to do here today is compare. So we've been able to break, we've been able to read fractions. Now I want us to think about comparing them. So if our fraction has the same denominator, the same bottom number like we do here, both of these shapes are split into 4, both of these shapes are split into 6. So my bottom number and my denominator is the same. If I want to compare them, then all I need to do is look at the top number. The more pieces that are on the top, right, the bigger the fraction is. So if I think about 1 piece out of those 4 or 2 out of those 4, 2 out of the 4 is a lot bigger than only 1. Okay, same thing here. You always want more pieces of pizza, right? So if I have the choice of getting 5 out of those 6 pieces or 3 out of those 6 pieces, 5 is greater. I would want those 5 instead of the 3. You can continue doing this in the Google form today, comparing these fractions based on if they have the same denominator. So again, if the number is the same on the bottom, I can look at the top. 2/4 is bigger than 1/4. Okay, I'm going between 3 out of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or I'm going 6 out of those 8. 6/8 is bigger than 3/8. I can continue doing this as long as my bottom number is the same. Now you're probably thinking, what if the bottom number isn't the same? Then what do you do? Well, if you have the same numerator or the same top number, but a different bottom number like we do here, right? Both of these are one piece out of the whole, but the whole is not the same. This whole is split into 3 and this whole is split into 4. Would I rather share with 3 friends or would I rather share with 4 friends? The more people I have to share with, the less I get for myself, the smaller my piece is going to be. So if I have one pizza like I do here, and I'm going to share it with myself, Miss Johnson, Miss Westlake, we're all going to get the same size. If I still have that same pizza, but now Mrs. Gall is going to be eating the pizza too, then all of us are going to get a smaller piece. So in that case, the bigger number on the bottom, the bigger denominator, okay, that's going to be a smaller piece of pizza or a smaller fraction. So if the bottom number is bigger, you're sharing with more people and you're getting a smaller amount. So when I go to compare them here, okay, if I'm splitting between 8 people, that means less for me. So I would say 4/6 is greater than 4/8. Okay, same here. I'm getting one piece either way, but I'm splitting with more people if there's 4 of us. So 1/3 is bigger than 1/4. I want you to keep practicing this today on our Google form, making sure that you fill out your name after you've watched this video, and then practice comparing those shapes like I just did here and see how you do. Just try your best. If you get frustrated, that's okay. All we ask is that you try. Thank you so much for joining me today, third graders, and I look forward to learning with you again soon.